Hey everyone, welcome to the video. In this one, we're going over my favorite value plays for week 1 of the NFL season on Draftkings. In my previous videos, I went over who's going to be chalk on Draftkings, some lower owned guys we can target for GPPs, quarterback breakdown, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defenses. I've posted all those videos earlier, so I just wanted to go over some of the guys who I think are just really cheap this weekend and I think are a little bit undervalued. Anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, and if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I really appreciate it. I gained a lot of subscribers over this weekend, so if that was from any of you watching this right now, thank you. It's really awesome to see it go up so fast. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my new content, I'd recommend hitting that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. And if you like all the free videos I post on here, I do have some extra content available on Patreon, including this cheat sheet you see behind me. I'm showing you a preview of it right now. So if you were like me a while ago, I used to have 50 tabs open. I'd get lost looking at all of this, all the stats, but I tried to compile it all the stats I think that are important in one spot and have it color coded, nice and neat in a presentable way, so it limits your research time and makes making lineups a lot easier. So you got player info here, matchup, Vegas totals, the pace they played at. Right now, the 2018 stats, but because we obviously don't have any 2019 stats yet. And then we have defense versus position, so each position is tweaked a little bit different, just depending on what position they are. So for wide receivers, we're going to have the wide receiver versus cornerback matchups, which I think is one of the best things to have in DFS, because a lot of people just look at the overall matchup versus like how a pass defense is. But if we can break it down by wide receiver and cornerback matchups, that's going to give you an edge, because like I always say, there's a lot of casual fans that play NFL DFS and they don't really break it down as much as, like someone like me or anyone else that really gets into DFS does. And you guys too, because you're watching this video, so obviously you want to get better at DFS. And then I have projections on there, rankings on the side, game info, weather info even, all in one spot. I think it's very helpful, and if you're interested in getting access to this, links in the description below for my Patreon, and it's seriously the best time to sign up because it's the first of the month, and that's when you want to sign up for stuff on Patreon. And also have a Slack chat. You can ask me all the questions you want, and I'll have my cheat sheet ready for week 1 too. So anyway, that's enough of plugging. I apologize for having to do that, but hey, everyone's got to do it, right? So anyway, let's get into the quarterback position. So obviously, you guys know it's coming. Kyler Murray at 5,600. He's the easy choice for quarterback week 1 for cash games. And he's going to be the chalk. A lot of casual fans play NFL DFS. And what are they going to want to do? They want to put in the number 1 pick of the NFL draft this season, Kyler Murray. Now, like I said, he's too cheap. He's got a good matchup at home versus Detroit. They were 31st DVOA versus the pass last season. He's got a high floor with his rushing ability, and he can throw the ball too. The only problem is he has a terrible offensive line. He's going to be running for his life a lot, I can imagine. They're going to tend to fall behind in games, but really Detroit shouldn't pose too much of a threat to them. Maybe they can keep it close, and it's a back and forth game. I don't think a ton of points are going to be scored, but with his rushing ability and his throwing ability, and he doesn't have the best receiving core. It's not the worst either though. So should get if he gets a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown, you're gonna be very happy at 5,600. Next guy I want to talk about is Carson Wentz at 5,700. The thing I like about Carson Wentz is that price at 5,700, and obviously because he's on this video, and he has a ton of weapons to work with. Some of the, he's got a lot of weapons, more than most people in the league do. Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, that's just an insane tight end group right there. Alshon Jeffrey, who's no slouch. Deshaun Jackson, even though he's missing a ring finger right now. Not really, but he's got a great deep threat. And Miles Sanders out of the backfield. Darren Sproles, Jordan Howard. I mean, this is a loaded offense. They got some good weapons, pretty good offensive line. So I don't see how he fails here at 5,700. They have one of the highest implied total of these slates at 27.25. Only problem would be if they get out to a lead too early, that they stop throwing the ball as much. But if they're going to get out to a lead early, I think it's going to come off the hands of Carson Wentz. So he should be able to get his work in. And when Wentz is on the field, he's great. The only problem with him has been his injury history, but he's healthy right now. So I do like Carson Wentz at 5,700. He's only 100 more than Kyler Murray, and he has more NFL experience than he does. So I do like Carson Wentz a lot. Then Kirk Cousins at 5,500 versus Atlanta Falcons. I almost said the Braves. I'm still in baseball mode maybe a little bit. But he also has tons of talent around him. He's got Stephon Diggs, Dalvin Cook, Adam Thielen, which is, that's an excellent core skilled guys to work with. The only downside is his offense is trending towards being run heavy, so that could lead to less passing volume, which, that's kind of expected this season. But at 5,500 versus a Atlanta Falcons team, which is a great matchup for quarterbacks. They were 29th DVOA versus the pass last season. A lot of points scored at the quarterback position, one of the worst in the league. A lot of passing yards. He's at home. I think at 5,500, we do not need a lot to hit value here. And the next guy I want to talk about is Nick Foles at 5,300 versus the Kansas City Chiefs. So he's just dirt cheap, and this should be positive game flow for him as they are slight dogs and the highest over-under of the entire slate. And it's really not that big of a spread at only negative, if I can find it, negative 3.5, or not negative, they're plus 3.5 dogs. So they're going to have to throw a stay in this game. I do like the matchup for Leonard Fournette a ton, but Nick Foles should still have a decent game, 5,300. If he can get us 2 touchdowns and about 200 some yards, that's going to be excellent. The Chiefs allowed 22.4 points per game to the quarterback position last year, and they allowed a slate high 295 passing yards per game. So the matchup's there, and he's really cheap, and it should be positive game flow. And Nick Foles can have a decent game, and he's not a bad quarterback. And last guy I want to talk about is the beef brisket himself, Jacoby Brissett. He finds himself as the starting quarterback for the Colts after Luck retired out of nowhere. That news shocked everybody. And he's only 4,400, and if he does anything even remotely average, he should be just fine. He's one of the better backups in the league, and he has a good amount of game experience, so it's not like he's being thrown into the fire. Now, is he very good? No, absolutely not. But he doesn't have to be at this price tag, and he would definitely be more expensive if DK didn't release their salaries in July if he was named the starter, because obviously they thought Luck was starting. Still, he has a good offensive line, coach, and weapons to throw to, so if you want to punt the QB position with the beef, I have no beef with that. Man, that was a bad joke. Anyway, at running back, let me go to the running back side of things here. I'm not even really using the sheet to break down this video, but I just want to show you guys a preview of what this looks like. So, where is Mr. Sanders? He is 3,900 going up against the Washington Redskins. And look, I know Jordan Howard is there, but he's not the future of this backfield. It's Miles Sanders, and they're going to want to see what they have in him. And now he won't be a bell cow running back by any means, as Jordan Howard looks to get some short work, and there will be competition for receptions with Sproles and Clement, but still, he should still get the majority of the work and is very clearly the top back in this offense with the most upside. And at 3,900, I think that's a steal. Then Matt Breida at 4K versus Tampa. So this play got even better with McKinnon going down, as it will be the Coleman and Breida show. Breida was great last season. If you don't remember, he had over 1,000 total yards and made his touches worthwhile. He's pretty efficient, and he's going to split work, but there should be enough to go around in this offense for him to easily hit value at only 4K. Shanahan running backs are always valuable. And if you've watched any other NFL videos of mine, you guys know I love this game for fantasy, as it is a close spread with a high total and 2 below-average defenses with some decently high-paced offenses. Only bad thing about Breida is that he's held together by rubber bands, glue, and duct tape. Man, he's a walking mess. And if you watch him play, it's probably going to give you a heart attack because he's going to go down with an injury in the first or second quarter that makes it look like he's going to be done for weeks or this season. And then randomly he's going to hobble back on the field and randomly in the third quarter and be just fine. So I owned him in season long last year, and it seemed like it was like that every single week. But he tended to produce week in, week out. So do you like him? I think he's pretty talented. And then here's a gross one in Dontrell Hilliard. Now you have to scroll all the way down to find this guy. I'm not exactly sure where he's even at because he's in price. So he's in a mixed mess here. But my notes on him, this is really digging the bottom of the barrel here. But he does not need much to get there. Now, absolutely do not do this in cash games or really even single 100 GPPs or 20 max GPPs. This is more of a milli maker. You're belling in 150 lineups, and it's a dart throw to load up on every single position besides your running back, like 3, like the flex option. And with Duke Johnson out of town, this is your chance. This is your change of pace back when Chubb needs a breather, especially because Kareem Hunt's obviously not there. So he's the RB2. He's been capable in the preseason and should catch a couple balls at only 3K. I think that's a fine punt play. Now, again, I'm not obviously in love with this play, but I'm trying to find you guys dirt cheap values. That's what this video is, not my favorite plays. Okay. Then we have Devin Singletary at 3,600 versus the Jets. Now LaShawn McCoy just got cut, so this is not sneaky really at all compared to when I had this stuff written down from yesterday, really. But yeah, he doesn't just become the bell cow running back just because LaShawn McCoy got cut. Now there's still some warm bodies in Buffalo, including the infinite Frank Gore and TJ Yeldon. Even so, he should see around double-digit touches, and he should be the main lead back of that offense, even though it's going to be running back by committee. And getting double-digit touches at 3,600, that's a rare feat for someone down in this price range with his potential. So I don't mind Devin Singletary. Now let's go into the receivers. The first guy I want to talk about is Curtis Samuel at 4,200 versus the Rams. Now, he's someone I expect to carry some ownership, but this is because his price is so cheap and he was really hyped up during the offseason and preseason. And now he has big play potential. He's got amazing speed, and he has a decent sized role in this offense with Cam Newton being the quarterback, and he should be healthy for week 1. And his noodle arm is gone, so he should have his velocity back to be able to get Curtis Samuel the ball. He can make big things happen when he's in open space. He was amazing in training camp and generated a lot of buzz. And he was also even labeled the offensive MVP of camp by a source. So do like Curtis Samuel at that price tag. And then at 3,200, I think Rashard Higgins is maybe worth a dart throw versus the Titans. So Hollywood Higgins, he has a really nice connection with Baker Mayfield so far in his short career. Baker always likes to look to him. He's the wide receiver 3 for this team, but because Callaway is suspended for another portion of this season, leaving him the de facto number 3 behind Odell and Landry. Obviously, they will get theirs, especially Odell and Landry, but he should see some of the softest coverage on the team with obviously Odell garnering a whole bunch of attention, probably double teams, and then Landry's there too, and Njoku needs to get some attention. They're going to be worried about Chubb. Higgins should see the softest matchup here, and he's a pretty decent player. He's better than 3,200. It's just because he's like the third fiddle on this team, or fourth or fifth, even if you want to include Chubb and Njoku. But he should go under-owned for a hot new offense with plenty of upside to go around. So I don't mind Rashard Higgins at 3,200. And next guy I want to talk about, he's not like a punt play, but at 4,800, I don't mind Dede Westbrook. So I think Foles is a good cheap option, so I have to like his number 1 target, Dede, right? They've had a good connection so far, and Westbrook is talented. DeFilippo even said he runs the best routes he's one of the best route runners he's ever seen, and that's speaking a lot, especially because he's coached Thielen and Diggs, which is some elite company in terms of route running ability, as they are near tops in the league in that category. And like I said, the Jags should have to throw the ball, and he has a much better QB in Foles doing that than he did last year with the Blake Bortles. So I don't mind some Dede Westbrook. And then at tight end, we have Hunter Henry at 3,900. This is one of the most obvious plays of the entire week. The corpse of Antonio Gates is finally gone, and Henry has been freed to finally be the standalone tight end in this offense. It's about time. And he just so happens to draw the best matchup for tight ends versus the Colts, who got torched by them last season. They gave up the most yards per game to the position by a decent amount, and allowed over 16 DraftKings points per game to the position. Henry will be chalk, but it's very good chalk, and he's probably where you want to go in cash games if you're not playing Kelsey or Evan Engram. And the last guy, I really do not like punting tight end below Hunter Henry, but if you must, I think Austin Hooper, 3,200 versus the Vikings is somewhat interesting. This is not a flashy play, and no, I do not plan on going this low for my tight end position on week 1. And if you're playing Hooper, you're just hoping for 20 to 30 yards and for him to somehow fall into the end zone. And I will say, though, the matchup is there, as the Vikings were 30th DVOA versus the position last season, which is second worst. So he's worth a shot. Not in love with it. I'd really, really recommend getting up to Henry, as he has much more upside for only 700 more. And salary really shouldn't be that much of an issue, especially with week 1, how mispriced everyone is. But if you must, Austin Hooper's fine. Maybe Mark Andrews, 3K. Then for defenses, I already went over the defenses I like in my other videos, but obviously I like the Ravens, but they're not technically cheap and relative to the rest of the defenses. I think the Bills and the Jets are somewhat okay. Much prefer the Jets side of that. The Seahawks at 3,100 are fine, although they're technically really not that cheap. I saw some talk about the Dolphins, and Lamar Jackson's really not that good of a quarterback, and the Ravens offense isn't too intimidating. So maybe if you absolutely want to punt, I guess that's fine. But honestly, I want to try to get the Ravens in, the Seahawks, or the Jets, or even the Cowboys, Browns, or Eagles. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for this video. It was just some value plays. Sorry it wasn't too long, but just wanted to get some of my value plays out. Not my favorite plays in the world, but if you need to go dumpster diving for some reason week 1, I think those are some of my top guys for that. Now, I will try to do another video, like maybe my favorite high-end guys. I'll think about something, but anyway, I will leave you guys with that. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you like my content and you want some extra, like I said, my cheat sheet is available in the link in the description below. Remember to leave a like, hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out. Really appreciate that. And I wish you guys the best of luck in whatever you're doing tomorrow. And have a happy Labor Day.